Okay, you guys, welcome to How to Help Your Returned Missionary Find Their Purpose and Avoid Losing Their Spirituality. I'm really excited to do this class with you today. Just a few quick things. So this is not live, but you still have total access to me with any questions you might have. Right under this video should be a form that you can fill out any questions. You can, type one question or multiple questions, however many you want. It'll go straight to my inbox and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. My name is Sarah. I'm going to tell you really quick my goals for this masterclass is I just want for you to learn how to help your return missionary with specific return missionary struggles. Okay, a lot of the struggles I see in my clients are this lost sense of purpose, this perfectionism, the coming home early stuff and all that comes along with that, bad habits, losing spirituality, anxiety, depression, attending university for the first time and how that really affects you, bad feelings about your mission, and then most important, preventing a lot of these struggles, because a lot of them you can work on beforehand before they get too bad. And so my other goal for this masterclass is I want you to understand that most RMs struggle because they aren't emotionally mature. And I'll explain what that means in a bit. And then number two, the only way to become emotionally mature is through deep and personal thought work. Okay, and at the end, I'm going to share how your RM can get some more help from me via classes in my 6-week program if you're interested in that. Either way, I just hope you get some really great takeaways from this class. So this is me. Here's a little bit about me. I'm a specialized life coach for RMs. I help clients with all sorts of RM struggles, kind of the stuff I mentioned earlier, right? Coming home early, feeling disconnected from God, mission shame, that's a big one, school struggles, anxiety, depression, finding purpose again, and RMs who are doing great but just want to increase their mental stamina and increase their capacity to accomplish more in life. My background and my BYU degree is in therapeutic recreation. I have experience in clinical settings with teenagers, doing group therapies with them daily. It's super fun. I loved it. I served a mission myself and I really struggled during the transition home. I became very depressed, had this lack of purpose. It was way harder than anything on my mission for me. And that experience kind of led me to spending the last 3 years trying to figure out why RMs struggle and how to help them. And I really believe that this is my calling in life right now. I love it. It's so fulfilling to me, and I feel like I have a lot to offer in this area. Okay, so this is a little bit my story. This is me in 2015 when I came home from my mission. 6 months later, I really, really struggled. Like I said, I got depressed. I lost a lot of my spirituality, right? And I was going to BYU, and I had gotten married, and I had jobs, and I was busy, and I was doing all these things I was supposed to be doing in life, right? But I felt so lost and without purpose, and it was miserable. And I wanted to feel better, and I wanted to find purpose in my life again, and I wanted to feel close to God again. And so I decided to reach out for help. I took some medication, I signed up for therapy, but nothing was really helping me. So I remember one day I decided I was going to reach out to some friends and just talk to them about what I was going through, right? It had been 6 months or even more since I'd been home from my mission, and I just wanted to talk to someone about it. So I got on the phone with one of my old companions, and I talked to her about what I was going through, and like how I was struggling to find purpose, and I was struggling to feel like I was living up to what a good RM does. And then she told me that she was still struggling 9 months later, feeling with memories of her mission and feeling like she wasn't a good enough missionary, and it still really bothered her. And then I got on the phone and I talked to another friend who had come home from his mission, and he'd got stuck in pornography habits, and he was full of so much just self-hatred, and he couldn't get out of it. He kept saying stuff to me like, I should be so much better. Like, I know better. Why can't I stop? There's something wrong with me. And he told me about a lot of his friends who were kind of going through similar things. And the more people I talked to, the more I realized that struggling like this after your mission wasn't as rare as I thought it was. It was pretty common. And I just couldn't wrap my head around it, right? I kept thinking like, it shouldn't be this way. There's got to be something that can help all of us return missionaries not hate ourselves so much. And that's when I discovered these coaching tools that I teach now and thought work. So some of you might have heard of Jody Moore, Brooke Castillo. They're the ones who introduced it to me. And oh my, praise the heavens for them. They changed my whole life. But one thing specific I learned from them is this idea of emotional adulthood. Okay, emotional adulthood is understanding where your feelings come from, your thoughts, how to feel your emotions in a non-destructive way, and that fulfillment and purpose come from the inside out, not the outside in. Let's see. Yep, right there. All that stuff. So I learned that the transition for RMs is so difficult because RMs were very emotionally immature and we don't know how to really manage our brains. Okay, so I realized that I was really emotionally mature. I didn't know what caused my emotions. I didn't know how to handle those emotions, and it caused me to really act out on them. Okay, so here are some of the ways that emotional immaturity manifests itself in RMs. Searching for purpose outside of themselves, right? For me, I kept quitting my jobs. I'd get a job, and then 3 months later, I'd quit because I didn't feel fulfilled, and I couldn't make a decision on what major I wanted to choose because I couldn't see one that would fulfill me perfectly, right? And I remember I got married, and I was distraught because my marriage didn't fulfill me, So searching for that purpose outside of yourself instead of inside. Another way that emotional immaturity manifests itself is by avoiding negative emotions through destructive actions like binge TV, pornography, overeating, social media, etc. Blaming God for a lack of spirituality, feeling abandoned by God and blaming him for that. Consistently searching for outside validation to feel good about themselves, grades, relationships, praise, awards, stuff like that, looking for that outside validation to feel good. And what really changed the game for me when I was struggling after my mission was when I started to focus more on my brain and understanding how my brain works. So it's kind of like this. Right now, your RM is running up the down escalator. The down escalator is an emotionally immature brain. Okay, let me tell you what that looks like for a lot of my clients. It looks like thoughts like this. I should have been a better missionary. What if I'm not good enough to get that job or get into that major or get into that school? Okay, something's wrong because I don't feel purpose. Why wasn't my mission the best 2 years? Have I even changed? They look at this stuff they're doing. Have I even changed? I don't feel as spiritual, and what is wrong with me? Why has God abandoned me? I'm behind in life. Why did this happen to me? It's not fair. So not every missionary will have all these thoughts, obviously, right? This is just kind of a sample, some that your return missionary might have. Not all missionaries have regrets about their missions, but some do. But everyone struggles with some thought kind of like this. And this is an emotionally immature brain. So your RM, they know what they should be doing. They have goals. They know what life they want to live. And like this guy on the escalator, they're probably hustling pretty hard. But it's hard to work against a moving escalator. It's exhausting, and they're eventually going to burn out. And when they do stop, they're just going to go down instead of continue to go up. Okay, but becoming emotionally mature and learning to manage your brain is like stepping onto the up escalator instead of the down one. It's when you understand this. It's when you understand that your thoughts drive your emotions. It's when you understand how to use your thoughts to drive useful emotions. And it's when you understand how to feel negative emotions without acting out on them. So I'll go through some examples of that. But when I learned this, I became totally obsessed, and I just dove in and I read everything I could get my hands on. I studied everything I could. And although I was learning it, I was still struggling with all these personal things in my life. I couldn't quite apply it. I like to relate it to I was studying a math textbook, and I understood the concepts, but I needed help applying it to my own problems in my own life, right? It was hard to just read how to do it and then to actually do it. So I needed a tutor, like a brain tutor. And that's what I did is I joined a program. I got all the help I could get. And that is when my life really, really started to change. So I graduated college after dropping out for a few semesters. And I did it with my cute little baby. And even though it was hectic with that baby, it was the least stressful school year of my life. It's the least stressful school year of my life. I got my dream job and internship as a rec therapist at my dream place to work, and it was fabulous. I loved it. And then later that year, I started a business with my husband doing e-commerce stuff, and it's doing really well, and it's supporting us. But most importantly, like the biggest changes were internal. And I just felt so much better, and I felt peace. And I started to get my spirituality back, and I felt fulfilled, and I stopped living in this fear that I was falling short. I didn't connect my worth to any of those successes or to any of those failures. Okay, and so you might be thinking, so what? That's awesome. Good for you. All right, but this is so what. I want you to think about your child and what worries you have for your RM. What are you worried about with them? Are they a perfectionist? Are you nervous about that? Are you worried about them having lost sense of purpose or having guilt about their missionary service or school struggles or bad habits that they've had before? Are you worried about them falling back into that? Or are they an early return missionary and you're trying to figure out how to help them with that transition? Or are they unmotivated, depressed, or anxious? Are you worried about them losing their spirituality or their self-confidence? All these things, okay? I want you to know that all of your RM's personal challenges and all of those fears that you have for them are fixed through learning to manage their brains and through this emotional maturity that I've been talking about. All of that can be fixed through learning to manage their brains. Okay, when I started to offer help and share these tools for return missionaries, I was so overwhelmed with all the responses I got from RMs asking for help. There were so many that just jumped on the opportunity to get some specific help, right? Like some of these, I'm struggling because I came home for medical reasons. My husband's having a hard time. Can you come help him? I had a great mission, so I don't know why I'm having a hard time right now. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with my life. I hear you help them figure out their purpose, right? I had so many people reach out to me for help. And I started to see that they got similar results, right? This stuff worked for them too. It wasn't just me. So here's some of the things some of my clients have said. I now can look at my mission photos and memorabilia without fighting back anxiety and tears. I can finally look back at my mission in a positive light. Okay, when I shared this testimonial, I had so many people reach out to me and just say, I didn't know there are other people who felt this way. I'm so glad someone was able to overcome that. That gives me hope that I can too. Okay, this other one, I was able to overcome the feeling of being spiritually disconnected after my mission. I now have the spiritual connection I was searching for months before participating in these sessions. I've always struggled to know how to pull myself out of a depressive mood. This was totally me. And what caused it. Since the program, I have become better at pinpointing what thought triggered it and also found better ways to overcome it in a healthy way. It helped me understand myself, how I think, and how to overcome my feelings of inadequacy or bursts of anxiety. Okay, so here's what's next. Here's what we're going to talk about in the next little bit. Number one, why the transition home is so hard and harder than it was 10 years ago. Okay, number two, the one thing that will help your return missionary achieve better results in their life, even better grades. And the answer isn't working harder or trying harder. Okay, and three, how to help them transition and feel peace and discover their life's purpose quicker than they would quicker than ever, right? And the answer isn't to keep them busy. That's what I hear a lot, is to help RMs keep them busy. But this is a little bit better. Okay, so number one, why the transition home is harder than it was 10 years ago. So let me talk really quick about something that's a little bit different. I'm sure you have heard that depression and anxiety are at the highest that they have ever been with the data that we have. Okay, we don't know why, and we don't know what's causing this increase, and we don't know if it's just maybe an increase in awareness or people wanting more help, right? So this one on the left is from a study published on educationweek.com. Shows how, depression is on the rise and it's higher than it's ever been. This other one is from psychologytoday.com. Shows the increase in college students experiencing anxiety and depression, right? Overwhelming anxiety and depression, so much that it's difficult to function. So that's one difference. And all the data shows that this trend in society is for anxiety and depression to show up more and more. That's one difference. And the second difference is that we have this unlimited access to the internet. Okay, so I'm not here saying that smartphones or the internet is the cause of all this anxiety and depression. That's not what I'm saying at all. But here's why this contributes to such a hard transition. Okay, I had a client recently who said to me, on my mission. I learned all this stuff about technology usage and how to use it wisely. And I know how to do it, but now that I'm home, I just can't seem to stop wasting my time on it. And I explained to her that it's because she was using her technology as a way to avoid all of those hard feelings that came from coming home. Okay, so she was using her technology to escape negative emotions. That ends up creating more stress, more anxiety, and more negative emotions. So her problem wasn't that she didn't have self-control and didn't know how to use it. Her problem was that she came home, she felt kind of lost, she felt out of place, she felt some anxiety about school and about the future, and she was using technology as a way to escape those feelings. It's so easy to mindlessly scroll on Instagram or watch Netflix when you feel anxious, and it's like a nice break from feeling so anxious, but it keeps us from reaching our goals, and therefore it causes a lot more stress and a lot more negative emotions after that mindless break. Okay, I see very similar patterns in RMs who come home and view a lot of pornography. I just had a meeting with a client who, when I explained this concept to him, he said, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. I'm just trying to get away from all this shame and all this garbage that I am feeling. Okay, so that's one reason, this buffering and this avoiding negative emotions, it's so easy to do it when we have an iPhone in our pocket. Okay, and the other one is this use of social media, right? I love social media, but it totally brings challenges. There's a lot of pressure to look a certain way, act a certain way, and like be doing certain things. And that doesn't just magically go away after you go on a mission. Okay, a lot of this overall message too that you get from social media is that if you aren't happy most of the time, something is wrong with you. Okay, so we challenge that. We learn that our brains aren't supposed to be happy all the time. We learn how to manage those feelings so that we're not escaping our negative emotions. Okay, all of these challenges surrounding unlimited access to the internet are completely solvable. And they're not solvable by just getting rid of technology. I never believe that that's the answer, but by learning to manage your brain. Okay, like I said, learning to process emotions instead of escaping them, and learning how to be compassionate with yourself and have this nothing has gone wrong mindset. I can be sad and nothing has gone wrong. I cannot be married yet and nothing has gone wrong. Okay, here's what one of my clients said about this. She said that I found that my sessions were most effective in calming my mind down when feelings of past circumstances arose. I would recommend anyone to go through these sessions with her, as she can help you in your process to heal, deal, and feel what's going on in your brain, whether it's feelings of inadequacy, post-mission stress, or anxiety. Okay, this return missionary, she was able to overcome those hard emotions, not by avoiding them, but by learning to process them and learning how to manage her brain. Okay, number 2, how to help your RM get better grades, not by studying harder. This is supposed to be a different title. What was it? It was how, the one thing that you can do to help your RM reach their goals, right? And it's not by working harder. So this goes with my story, okay? So Alexa was one of my clients, and she was my perfect RM, you know. She hadn't had any struggles on her mission, and she was in a great school, and like on the outside looked like she was doing great, but she came to me because she was struggling to find purpose, and she just wanted a little bit extra help with her transition. During one of our sessions, she came to me really distraught about failing a test. She wanted more than anything to get into her nursing program, and this test that she failed, she was so scared about her future, and she was terrified of not getting the grade she needed. She was working her tail off, right? She was studying her heart out, but she wasn't getting the score she wanted. So we broke it down, and I showed her that her brain was working against her, right? I showed her that the problem wasn't that she wasn't working hard. It was that when she operates out of fear and stress, she doesn't perform as well. Okay, but when she felt self-assured and when she operated out of those positive emotions, she was able to get higher test scores. So she started to see that, and then she did the work, and she did the daily exercises, and she did the worksheets I sent her, and she learned this skill of managing her brain. And then she sent me this. Over the last 6 weeks, my time management and exam scores have both improved drastically. What Sarah teaches isn't magic. It's simple, relatable, and applicable. That's why it works. Okay, it really is all about the emotions that you're operating from, and you access those emotions through this thought work and through this through this deep personal work. Number 3, how to help your RMs transition, feel peace, and discover their life's purpose quicker than ever before. And it's not by keeping them busy. So let me tell you the story of my client, Amanda. She struggled with feeling a lot of shame about her mission. So she came to me because she dreaded thinking about her mission. It brought up so much anxiety. She constantly thought about all of her mess ups. She avoided talking to her companions. She avoided speaking the language. She even avoided looking at her mission memorabilia and going through her mission box because it brought her to tears. Okay, so she'd followed my Instagram for a while, but she wasn't making any progress. So she signed up to talk to me. And during just that 1 hour, we were able to break down her old beliefs and to help her begin to see her mission in a positive light. In just 1 hour, okay, just one belief. We just started to question one belief and work through one thing. And then a week later, she told me, I can't believe it. I don't feel any pain thinking about my mission anymore, right? She started talking to her old companions, which she thought she would never do. She even planned a trip to her mission, which she said she never could have imagined her planning a trip to her mission. She'd booked a plane ticket and everything. And she even started taking a class in her mission language. So obviously not all of my clients move that fast. But it's a lot like this example President Uchtdorf used in conference, right? If you are flying a plane and go off just 1 degree, it makes such a difference in your life, in where you end up. Okay, it's the same with thought work and brain stuff. If you are able to just work on one little thing, 1 little degree, it can change everything. Just one thing, right? So when I was doing this work, right, you will be surprised at how quickly you start to see results. It translates into every area of your life. So when I was trying to find purpose and doing the work on myself to feel that inside, my marriage got better. And then I started doing better in school. Okay, and it was just because I was working on one specific thing, it translated into all these other areas of my life. I love to use this example too with my clients. So right now, it's like your RM is riding a bike as fast as they can, right? They know where they want to go. They've got it mapped out. They're riding. And then they see that there's a car across the street. And they realize, oh, I have this car keys in my pocket. How convenient, right? And then they think to themselves, well, what if they thought to themselves, oh, but if I get in the car, I have to put the address in my GPS. And then I have to go fill up with gas, and I just don't know if I want to take the time to do that, right? That would be so silly because you would still get there so much faster in a car than you would on a bike. Even if you have to take a minute and reroute and put it in your GPS and go fill up on gas, right? You're still going to get there way faster in a car. So doing thought work and doing this work on yourself to manage your brain is like switching from a bike to a car. You're going to get where you want to go so much faster, even if it means taking a minute to just recalibrate your brain, right? Start operating from the right emotions, okay? It really, really is life-changing. I want you just to imagine the jumpstart that your RM would have in life if they, 1, didn't escape their feelings through self-destructive habits, 2, were able to generate the right emotions to succeed even better, like the tests, my client with her test scores, and 3, used a car instead of a bike on their path to self-development. Seriously, I have people say to me all the time, where were you 5 years ago when I got home from my mission? This stuff is changing my life, but I needed it 5 years ago. And I think the same thing. Oh, if only I would have known this stuff right when I got off my mission. Have so much more of a jump start. I'm so glad I have it now, though. Okay. I hope that this has been helpful so far. I hope you have some aha moments. I hope you're excited for your RM. I hope your fears are put to rest, that there really are ways for your RM to overcome anything that they're going to go through. They're going to be totally fine. Okay. So now I want to tell you a little bit about this program I've created for return missionaries. If you're interested and if they're interested in learning this stuff on a deep level, it's called my 6-week Rediscover Your Purpose program. So 6 weeks we go into these topics in depth. So the model in depth, that's just understanding how your brain works, how your thoughts work, anxiety and depression as an RM, Rewriting your past and living from your future. I love that one. Spiritual maturity. I love that one too. And that's one that people come to me for the most help with. And they always leave feeling so much better about their relationship with God. It's such a good one. Okay, 5, finding your life's purpose. And 6, productivity and fulfilling your life's purpose. And that's when we go over all the stuff like how to avoid, like how to not buffer, what I was talking about earlier, how to I'm having a brain moment. What I was talking about before with not indulging in self-destructive behaviors, right? And feeling your emotions instead. Okay, so here's some of the results some of my clients have had. They said, I now am able to look back on my mission in a positive light and not stress over the past. These sessions were a little answer to my prayers. If all return missionaries had access to this program, the transition would be much easier. I have nothing but love, gratitude, and praise for this program. As they say in Hawaii, where I served my mission, mahalo nui lo. I don't know how to say that, but thank you very much. This program was one of the biggest blessings in my life since returning home. Just knowing that I'm not the only one with these struggles was hopeful, but then to be given tools and counsel on how to handle my struggles allowed me to still feel like a productive child of God. This program truly exemplifies the phrase, give a man a fish and you'll feed him for a day. Teach him how to fish and you'll feed him for a lifetime. It really is just teaching those RMs these skills they'll use for the rest of their lives. Okay, so you get those. It's an online class every single week. You get all those topics and they get access to it for life. So as I'm changing it, as I learn more and as I add more to this class, they're always going to have those updates forever. Okay, and with that, they're also going to get applicable worksheets for every week, Q&A sessions with me, and access to a private Facebook group for more support. Okay, with all these things, it will allow your RM to apply the teachings, which is so much different than just learning them. Okay, so with these, they'll be able to feel peace about their missionary service. They'll do better in school. They'll overcome self-degrading thoughts. They'll figure out their life's individual purpose. They'll regain their spirituality. They'll be able to handle depression and anxiety in a healthy way. They'll be able to set and reach impossible goals, and they'll be able to overcome bad habits and sustain new habits. Man, I need a drink of water. Okay. All right. Some of you might be thinking, but what if my RM needs one-on-one help applying this to their specific problems? This is my favorite part of the program, okay? So I'm also offering 6 weeks of public one-on-one anonymous coaching calls. So that looks like they get online, anyone who wants to, and we do one-on-one coaching with individuals, okay? And anonymous, when I say anonymous, I mean we can turn off their camera, we can not know their name, and they can come talk about anything they want to in that group. And those are also available for replays if your RM can't access them the time that they're going. When I was learning how to apply this stuff, it helped me so much to hear other people and to hear how other people were overcoming their problems, to hear other people getting coached. That's when I had a lot of the epiphanies for my own life. So that's probably the most important part of this package. And then lastly, this unlimited access to me via an anonymous question board, right? 24/7, you can ask however many questions you want for the 6 weeks, and I will answer every single one. I just want to make myself as available as possible to these RMs, because that's when it really, really starts to change your life, is when you're able to apply it to your own life. Okay, it's like this. I love this description because a lot of times, like, they do need help, like I did. They don't know how to rearrange their thoughts themselves. So it's hard to do alone. It's hard to apply it on your own. But access to me will allow them to really thrive and to make these lasting changes. They'll be able to take their messy, uncomfortable problems and rearrange them in a way that's neat, clean, and that serves them. Here's a few other things my clients have said about this program. Once a week with Sarah was all I needed to get out of my own head and start thinking more structurally about my thoughts. I would recommend anyone to go through these sessions with her, as she can help you in your process to heal, deal, and feel what's going on in your brain, whether it's feelings of inadequacy, post-mission stress, or anxiety. That might have been the second time that I have this in here, but it's just a good one. So I'm going to just keep going. Okay, my coach, Sarah, is incredible. Even from our first session, I could feel her love and sincere desire to help me. Really, that's what I want to do. I want to help these RMs. Okay, this program was extremely helpful. It's really been an eye-opener. Sarah's been extremely supportive and is extremely good at working through things, showing examples, and ensuring that I had an understanding of what was taught. I would strongly recommend it to any return missionary, whether they feel they are struggling or not. Sarah's program is beneficial to all. This is one I just want to point out too. Sometimes I have people who come and talk to me and they say, well, I don't know if I actually want to come do this because I don't think I'm struggling that much. And here's the thing, you don't have to be struggling that much. This takes you where you are. It gives you tools so that when you do struggle in life, you know what to do. And it gives you this car instead of this bike, no matter where you are at, right? Okay, I now can look at my mission photos and memorabilia without fighting back anxiety and tears. I can finally look at my mission in a positive light. One of the biggest challenges, both on the mission and after returning home, was and is controlling my thoughts. This helped me to understand, process, and change my thoughts in a positive way without making me feel crazy or like a project that needs fixing. When I started meeting with Sarah, I was struggling with my spirituality and finding my purpose because I no longer had a black tag and the name Sister Blake. I was constantly worried that I was disappointing God and my feeling of disconnection was a punishment. These sessions reminded me that sometimes we do disappoint God, and that's okay. If he's disappointed, it does not change his love for us. I believe this lesson alone has given me the spiritual connection I was searching for months before I participated. It helped me understand myself, how I think, how to overcome my feelings of inadequacy or bursts of anxiety. Okay, so here's what this is valued at. This 6-week Rediscover Your Purpose program access to life is valued at over $1,000. Okay, all those things that come with it. You get your 6 weeks of public, anonymous, one-on-one coaching calls. That's valued at over $600. The unlimited access to me is also valued over $600. And really the total value of this program, you guys, is over $2,000, almost $3,000. This isn't what I'm going to charge. But I want you to see how life-changing this can be for your RM. So think about this. If all this package did was teach them how to manage their brains and to avoid these self-destructive behaviors, what would that be worth to you? Okay, if all it did was teach them how to generate those really useful emotions to help them succeed instead of fear and doubt and anxiety, what would that be worth to you? And if all this program did was give them a car instead of a bike on their path to self-development, what would that be worth to you? So I'm offering this package for only $297. I wanted to make it a no-brainer. I wanted it to be something everyone could afford if they were interested in bettering themselves and bettering their transition home. I want to give you a little bit of perspective. So as a parent, what are you willing to invest in a formal education, right? Not all of you pay for your students' schools, but some of you are willing to invest over $2,000 for a semester at BYU and even up to $30,000, $32,000 per semester for formal education. Okay, for competitive sports, $6,000 to $12,000 a year is what we're willing to invest for that. Youth camps like EFY is $525 for a week. Okay, all these things we're willing to invest in as parents. I want you to think about their brains and their mental and emotional health. Okay, is that worth $297? Okay, it is so good for them. And it's definitely worth that. So just one more time, you get that 6-week Rediscover Your Purpose program. You get the worksheets, you get the Q&A session, you get the access to a private Facebook group, 6 weeks of coaching calls, and unlimited access to me via an anonymous question board for $297. It's 100% refundable until July 12th. That's in case your missionary decides they don't want to do it. You know, I don't want you to come spend this money and then they're like, I'm never going to do this, right? Okay, the program starts July 15th. There's limited seating. So below that form where you fill out your questions, there's a link that will take you to sign up for the program. Okay, this link that you have, it expires in 3 days. And lastly, please fill out the form if you have any questions. All right, I think that's all I've got for you guys. I hope that you're able to take something good from this webinar. I hope you'll be able to tell some of your RMs some of this stuff, help them in some way. I really hope to see your kid in my program starting July 15th. Okay, have a great day, everyone.